Right, hi everyone. Hello there. Hope you're all well. Sorry about the little bit of madness there at the beginning. I'm having a lot of technical issues today with my computer. I don't know what the hell's happening. Clicking on things, not responding. Just, I don't know. I really don't know. I thought getting the IT people in this morning would have sorted all this nonsense out, but it looks like it hasn't. But anyway, I'll do what I can and let's see what happens. Anyway, welcome back to Warren's Team Talk. Thanks very much for coming. I hope you're all well, having a great day. And what have I got for you today? So it's episode 6 of the Groundhopper Diaries. And today I'm going to be talking to you about my experiences of going to watch football at Reading, Millwall's new den, Liverpool's Anfield Stadium, Dartford's Watling Street, and to see Maidstone United play when they were playing there, Queen's Park Rangers, Loftus Road, and Oxford United's Manor ground. So it should be quite an interesting one, really. James has come in with a chat. So, hi, James. Nice to see you again, mate. So, yeah. And for those of you that aren't watching live, please remember to subscribe. Please remember to put a like on the video. And please remember, as always, to please share it around. Help me to grow my channel. That would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you very, very much. So let's get on with it. So first ground I want to talk to you about is Liverpool's Anfield Stadium. Now, I've only been to Liverpool's ground once, and that was on the 2nd of November, 1988, for a League Cup third round match between Liverpool and Arsenal. And in that game, it was the year that season was the year that Arsenal ended up winning the league title. And they won the game in very dramatic circumstances on the last game of the season, when they won 2-0 at Anfield. An incredible match. But this game was a League Cup game much earlier in the season, in November. And we went to Anfield, and I think even Liverpool fans would agree that they got out of jail that night, because we absolutely battered Liverpool. We had them pinned in their own half for long periods of the game. We had chance after chance after chance. We had a perfectly good goal disallowed. So, yeah, it was an incredible performance from Arsenal. And the game ended in the 1-1 draw. But the game doesn't tell the whole story. James has come in with the chat and he says, I've never been to Anfield. My dad has been a few times back in the 70s and the 80s. Yeah, it's an incredible stadium, James. It really is. And I enjoyed my visit there. I enjoyed being inside the ground, but I didn't enjoy the journey there, and I certainly didn't enjoy the journey back up. Now, on the way up, we travelled with Arsenal's travel club, and I don't know what the hell happened, but we ended up getting me and my mate Steve, we were on a train, and we were like with a bunch of Arsenal's meatheads, and there was a big fight broke out on the train on the way up. It was horrendous. It was I can't really understand it, to be honest. Two groups of lads, one lot saying they were Rangers fans, another lot saying they were Celtic fans. A fight broke out, and it was just ridiculous. Arsenal fans fighting each other, mind you. this day and age, the way things are at the moment, that seems to be happening on a daily basis. Arsenal fans arguing and fighting amongst themselves. So yeah, it wasn't very good. So me and my mate Steve, we managed to sort of get away from them when we got off the train, and we stayed obviously with the Arsenal Travel Club, but we just kept ourselves away from them, those meatheads that we'd seen on the train. We finally got into the ground, enjoyed the match, enjoyed Arsenal's performance, and we should have won. And then the journey back was all right until we got back to London. And when we got back to London, we were trying to find a cab to get us back to my mate's house in South London, where I was staying for the night. And that's when the drama started. James was coming with a chat saying, years ago, you would have seen blue scars in the Kop. Back then, it was the friendly derby. When Everton and Liverpool faced each other, it's not like that anymore. Yeah, it's quite sad, really, isn't it? I remember I went to an FA Cup final between Liverpool and Everton when Liverpool won by 3-1. I can't remember what year it was. Ian Rush, I think, scored a couple of goals. And Liverpool and Everton fans were mixing quite... they were mixing really well. There wasn't any problems. But yeah, it's quite sad that it's not like that anymore, to be quite honest. But still, that's modern football for you, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, we got back to London. There were no taxis anywhere. There were no buses anywhere. And then finally we found this minicab, and we got in his minicab, and that was a big mistake. The guy was an absolute head case, and he seemed to take great pleasure in driving like 70, 80 miles an hour in built-up areas. And how we didn't have an accident that night, I really don't know. But we finally made it back to South London, to my mate's flat in one piece. Thank the Lord. How we managed to do that to this day, I'm still not sure, but we did. And yeah, it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. They ripped us off, and when we challenged him about the cost of the fare, he just smiled at us and said, "Well, I got you home in good time, didn't I?" And I just thought, yeah, well, yeah. So you can't take that away from him, but the guy was a nutter, absolute nutter. So yeah, I'm glad that we managed to get away from him, and we got home in one piece. That's all I can say about his driving, because it was dreadful. Anyway, so the next ground I want to talk to you about was Maidstone United and Dartford's Watling Street Stadium in Kent, in Dartford. Now, Maidstone United and Dartford used to share a ground at Watling Street in Dartford, when Maidstone ended up selling their ground in Maidstone to MFI for them to develop into a superstore. MFI was like, for those of you who don't know, MFI was like a self-assembly furniture superstore, I believe, years and years ago. A bit like, I suppose similar in a way to what IKEA is now, but slightly different. And the old school gunners arrived. Let's see what the old school gunners saying. So, and the old school gunners come in with the chat. All right, Warren, how's the form? I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you? Just doing this stream, talking about my experiences going and watching football around about the place. And he's saying, "You're a busy man these days." Yeah, and I've had some IT issues this afternoon as well, so that's not been very good. But my Wi-Fi seems to be okay. It's just my laptop's been playing up, so I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, Dartford and Maidstone used to share ground at Watling Street in Dartford. Maidstone used to be tenants there. Ground used to hold, I think, a maximum of about 5,000 people. And that picture there is like the main stand at Watling Street, or it was when Maidstone were there. And you can see, let me see if I can get rid of some of that branding, the banners, so you can see it. So let's get rid of the banners. Yeah, if you see, look, it's got on there, it says, "Welcome to Watling Street, home of the darts and the stones." So yeah, there you go. Just shows, and then it's decked out in yellow. The paint is black and gold, and black and yellow and white. Black and white were the colours of Dartford, and black and yellow were Maidstone's colours. And while Maidstone were there, one of the most famous players who ever played for Maidstone United was Warren Barton. I don't know if many of you know Warren Barton. He went on to play for Wimbledon when they were playing in the First Division. He made a couple of appearances for England, and he played also for Newcastle United as well. And Old School Gunners come in saying, "I'm in a Wi-Fi hell zone." Oh, God, no. I'm sorry to hear that, mate. Yeah, it's so frustrating, isn't it? It really is. Anyway, so while I'm just going to tell you a couple of the stories about what I remember about going and watch football at Maidstone, when they were playing at Dartford's ground. There was a few mad things that happened there. I remember one game I went to. I think it was against Scunthorpe, and the Maidstone goalkeeper, he scored a goal. Now, it wasn't from a corner though. He got the ball in his own penalty area, and he launched a huge kick from one end of the pitch to the other, like Pat Jennings did in the 60s. And the ball bounced up over the opposition goalkeeper and into the net. It was amazing. And then Old School Gunners come in saying third world country. And also, yeah, I know him. And he said Newcastle United. That's right, mate. He did play for Newcastle United. Decent player. He was a decent player. And when he started at Maidstone, he played as a right back. And then Wimbledon came in and they paid Maidstone United £300,000 for him, which was a lot of money then. And but I think part of the deal was that they wanted him to play in midfield. So for some reason, he started playing in the centre of midfield. And I think that was part of the deal that was done with Wimbledon. The women in Venezuela are hot, but the Wi-Fi is shit. Yeah, I've heard that the women in Venezuela are a bit friendly, and that they're very good looking. Someone once told me that the women in Venezuela are the most beautiful women in the world. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but there you go. Some of the things I saw, the Maidstone United goalkeeper score a goal on one occasion, and then later on in the same game, he hit the bar. He did it again. He launched this massive kick, and it hit the bar of the opposition goal, which was an absolute madness. To see him score a goal and then hit the bar again afterwards was mad. And then one of the maddest supporters that Maidstone had at that when they were at that ground was this guy who was he simply went by the name of Rottweiler. Now, I'm not 100% sure why he had the name Rottweiler, other than the fact he was an ex-Millwall fan, and all he would do all through the games, he would stand right next to the away end, and he would just stare through the fence at the opposition fans, right? And no one would talk to him because everyone was too scared to speak to him because he just had a terrible reputation. And he would just like really freak out the opposition fans because he'd just stand there, not watching the game, just watching them, like staring at them, like with this evil look in his eye. Another time, I remember one of Maidstone's players who used to play for Maidstone's deadly rivals, Gillingham. There was a game against Gillingham and he was warming up on the pitch and the Gillingham fans were giving him a lot of aggro, a lot of jip, a lot of abuse. And he turned around to them and sort of beckoned to them that they should come on the pitch and have a word with him. And then all the Gillingham fans just surged forward. Oh my God. It was a madness, absolute madness. So that was pretty crazy. There's a lot of other stories I can tell you about watching football at Watling Street as well. Cardiff came to Watling Street on one occasion and they caused absolute carnage. A group of them had a coach and there was a few coaches came down from Cardiff and one of the coaches got hijacked by their own supporters, and I understand that they drove it to a pub and stayed in the pub, and they also did some madness in a petrol station. What the madness was, I don't know, but I can't remember. But I know that they did some madness. So there's a lot of other stories I can tell you about Maidstone United and watching football there at Watling Street, and I think I'll do a separate stream about that one because it was hilarious. Some of the things and some of the players, particularly the one I just told you about, who used to play at Gillingham. He was always involved in some controversy or antics or whatever. So let's move on. Then there's Millwall's new den. Oh my goodness. I've told you already in some of my Arsenal videos about when I've been to Millwall's old den. I went there twice with Arsenal. And then I've been to the new den once, but that was for a Kent League Cup final. And the ground itself is quite nice. I mean, you can see the picture of it there. It is a really nice modern stadium, but the area around the new den and the old den, I'm sorry, but it's awful. I don't want to offend any Millwall supporters, but it's not a nice area at all. It's one of these areas where you're walking down the road and you're absolutely terrified about what's going to happen. And people have said to me, it's one of these areas where when opposition supporters come there, they're not coming just to fight the Millwall supporters. They're coming there to fight the whole neighbourhood. It's a nightmare, absolute nightmare. And that goes back as well to what I said about my grandfriend told me, like during the war when the women used to lean out of the bedroom windows throwing buckets of boiling hot water out on to the supporters who were walking down the street and stuff like that. It's an absolute madness. And I remember that day that we went there, there were cars up on bricks and like smashed up vehicles, burnt out vehicles, and like houses with no windows in them. It was just horrendous, an absolute nightmare. And then James says, I'm glad I've never been to the den. I would need some armour and shields if I ever went there. Mate, don't do it. Don't go to Millwall. I don't know if your dad's ever told you, but if he hasn't, Millwall and Everton have got a really, really bad relationship. There was some serious disorder involving Millwall and Everton years and years ago. I think one guy got stabbed to death, and it's terrible. And I wouldn't advise you to go there at all, mate. In fact, I'd be really worried about if you went down there. And I don't know if you've heard this story, but I'm going to tell it again. I mentioned it just now. I was going to go and see Arsenal play Millwall at Millwall's Old Den, and my grand's best friend came from an area right near the Old Den. She grew up around there, and she told me that between the First World War and the Second World War, when opposition fans used to come to the Old Den, that they'd be walking along the road, and it's like one of these places is like lots of terraced housing, and the women would be in the upstairs windows. They'd be hanging out in the windows when the opposition fans were walking by, and they'd be throwing buckets of boiling hot water over them as they walk past, and that tells you all you need to know. It's just an absolute madness. And James has come in and said, I'm never going there, Warren. Don't worry. No, don't, mate. It's a nightmare. I wouldn't advise anyone to go there, to be quite frank. I've done it 3 times. I'm certainly not going to make a fourth trip, that's for sure. And then the next one was when I went to Oxford and an Oxford and Arsenal game, and that was a 0-0 draw. It was a terrible game, but the mad thing about that one was and it wasn't until I got home that I realised that this thing that I saw is really famous in Oxford. I was walking down the road, and someone said to me, "Yeah, you'll be able to see the fish that's in the roof in a minute." I said, "What do you mean a fish in the roof?" And I looked, and there's a house, or there was a house. I don't know if it's still there, but it's got like some person had a dispute, I think, with the local council or something, and there is they built a roof hanging like of a fish, like it's back end of a fish, like going into the ceiling of a house. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. It's huge as well. It's not a little fish. It's massive. Let me just see if I can Google it and see if I can get it to come up. Hold on a sec. I'm just having a look, guys, to see if I can find a picture of this house for you. Hold on. I won't be 2 secs. Sorry, guys. I really want you to see this because it's bonkers, and I'm sure you're probably thinking, "Oh, Warren, what's he going on about?" He's talking rubbish. I'll be 2 secs. I found it. So here we go. I'm just going to show you this picture. Look, there you go. There you go. There it is. See it? See that thing? And let's bring back the other thing that I was sharing with you. So yeah, I hope you all saw that. Absolute madness. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And yeah, but the game was far less eventful. It was a 0-0 draw, and it was absolutely dreadful, to be quite frank. James has come in the chat and said a fish in a room. What exactly, mate? That's what I thought. I think what possesses someone to do that? Apparently, he had some dispute with the council, and yeah, he thought he'd do that to get back at them or something. So God only knows what that's all about. So yeah, there you go. So the next game, Queen's Park Rangers, Loftus Road ground. I went there on the 18th of February 1989 to see QPR play Arsenal. The game ended in 0-0 draw. Another dreadful game. Arsenal didn't play particularly well, in my opinion. Did enough to win the game, but we just couldn't finish. And I remember the away end was packed to the rafters that day, and getting out was horrible. It was just really, really rammed, and it's like a lot of pushing and shoving, and like people were getting crushed, and it was horrible. Absolutely bloody horrible. And another ground that I'm not particularly in a hurry to go back to. So yeah, QPR probably deserved to win that game, to be quite frank. But so there you go. That was QPR. The next game was an FA Cup third round tie away at Reading. That was on the 10th of January 1987, and I went there again and went with the Arsenal. Well, I got my ticket through the Arsenal Travel Club, and I think they did. They put on a special train. It pulled into Reading Station. We arrived. We got out of the train, got out of the station, and then we had a police escort from the station to the ground, because it's quite away from the ground. I'd say it was a good mile at least walk from the ground, maybe 2 miles. And yeah, we got a police escort, and say a police escort, it was more like a herding, let's say. And the police dogs, geez, they looked like they hadn't been fed for a month. They were like frothing at the mouth and yapping, and the teeth on them. Oh my God, it was terrifying. It really was. Anyway, we got into the ground. The away end was packed, and it was good atmosphere inside the ground. A lot of singing and whatnot, but it was overcrowded in the away end, and there were a few people getting crushed down the front. And I remember during the game as well, the linesman or referee's assistant, whatever you want to call them, was getting a lot of abuse from the Arsenal supporters, because he kept making these stupid mistakes and giving Arsenal offside, and when they weren't, and things like that. And I remember that there was a character who used to be in the TV show EastEnders, who was a big Arsenal fan. His name's his name in the show was Lofty, but I can't remember what his real name was. But anyway, he was at the game, and he was there with a few of his mates in the seats. And on one occasion, the referee's assistant made a decision in favour of Arsenal, and Lofty stood up and did some sarcastic clapping of this referee's assistant, and then that led to a chorus of Lofty is a gooner, and Lofty, give us a wave, which he duly obliged with. It was a madness that day, absolute madness. And in the home end, I don't know if there was Arsenal fans in the home end or what was going on, but there was quite a bit of trouble in the home end. There was quite a lot of fighting, and so it wasn't good at all. Not very good day at all. Charlie Nicholas scored 2 goals for Arsenal in that game, and Martin Hayes got 1 as well. So Arsenal ran out comfortable 3-1 winners, but as far as the rest of it's concerned, it wasn't good at all. So, the next one. That's all the grounds I want to talk to you about today. The next time I do one of these, I'll be telling you about, one of the ones I'll be telling you about is when I went to Rochdale, and that is probably the craziest trip I've ever been on at football, but I'll tell you more about that the next time. Anyway, make sure that you check out the Old School Gunners YouTube channel. Excellent YouTube channel. Big Arsenal fan. It's got some excellent Arsenal-related content. So go and give him a check out. Like I say, it's an excellent channel. Also, make sure you go, and if you haven't already, go and subscribe to the Claude and the Bansters channel. An excellent channel. The 2 guys that are the presenters are really good guys, and they're opposite ends of the spectrum. You've got Diesel, who's at my end of the spectrum. He's 100% Arteta out, and then you've got another one, Terry, who's think that Arteta is the greatest thing since sliced bread and the greatest coach the world's ever seen, and praise to the altar of Arteta on a daily basis, I think. And so you're going to see, if you watch that channel, you'll see some really heated debates, and because the 2 of them go at it like cat and dog. It's hilarious. And they get some good guests on there, like those of you who know him, Kenny King gets on there, and a few others. So it's a good channel, really, really good channel. So, and again, they do some really, really good content, some watch-alongs and all sorts of things. So so that was episode 6 of the Groundhopper Diaries. I hope you enjoyed that. And it's telling me there's new comments, but I can't. It won't let me see them. I don't know what the hell's going on today. Oh, here we go. I've got it. There's 2 comments here. Both from James. I can imagine people must be cramped at Loftus Road and how small it is. It was cramped, mate. It was horrible, and it was quite scary at some points because people were getting really hurt and stuff like that. So how there's not been an issue there before, I really don't know. But yeah, you're right. And then James has come with another chat. I can imagine Terry will hit back if Arsenal win tomorrow. Listen, if Arsenal win tomorrow, Terry is going to go ballistic. I'm sure of it. And he's going to come both barrels. I'm telling you, if he comes, I'm going to give it to him big time, because I don't care if Arsenal was to win every single game between now and the end of the season. I still want Edu sacked. Because what he said in that interview with Sky Sports was absolutely disgraceful. When he turned around, and what it was that really annoyed me was the thing when he said that he didn't want to finish in the top 4, he didn't want to finish in the top 6, he didn't want to finish in the top 8, and he didn't want to finish in the top 10. It's completely unacceptable. I'm sorry, it is. So let him come. That's what I'm saying. Let him come, because I'll be ready for him, let me tell you. So let's see. Anyway, guys, that's the end of the show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've had a good day and that you continue to have a good day. And James has come with another chat. Cheers, Warren. See you soon, mate. We'll see what happens with Arsenal's game tomorrow. Yeah, mate. I'm hoping for a win, but not expecting it. I think, like I said the other day, my Premier League Match Day 4 preview program, I thought it'd be a 0-0 draw. So let's see what happens. I hope Everton do well for you on Monday as well. Yeah, and I think you'll win. I think you will. Anyway, mate, take care of yourself. Nice to speak to you all. Please remember to put a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and also please remember to share it around with anyone who you think might enjoy watching it. Take care, guys, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care. Bye.